head to clubfundraising.com.au. That's clubfundraising.com.au.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals, focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lanco Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
With the right qualification, there's no telling where your career could take you.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moon might be a bit of a stretch, but whether you are looking to progress your existing career, start a new one, rejoin the workforce, or get better at a hobby, training.com.au is here to help. At training.com.au, you can answer a couple of simple questions and instantly find out what courses are available for you. It costs nothing, and it could change your life.
The Eagle has landed.
Find your future right now at training.com.au.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the power of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co., Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
The Night Train is brought to you by St Andrews Hotel, 128 Nicholson Street, Fitzroy. Beautifully crafted, cosy and intimate spaces for your drinking and dining experiences.
I think the Knights, their time has arrived. I think last week that 10-man performance in the preliminary final was absolutely exceptional, so I'm going for the Knights.
When you talk of Knights, it's a real fighting team.
Buskuk into the back of the net. Melbourne Knights take the lead 1-0. Melbourne Knights will win the Doherty Cup.
Croatia looking for a finals berth. That's it! The Croatia fans salute the goal that could be so vital.
And good evening, Knights fans. Welcome back to the Night Train. We'll be discussing everything and anything Melbourne Knights. I'm your host, Anthony Zovak. And once again, I'm joined by my good friend, Josh Parrish. Josh, welcome back, mate.
It's good to be here. Sorry I was whisked away on Friday from commentary duties at the last minute. It's the 1,000 crowd cap means that it's better to have the game streamed for clubs all across Victoria, including Preston. So
definitely.
I think given the result of that one, they'd probably prefer they didn't stream it at all, and nobody saw it. But don't need to talk about that. Here to talk about Knights Avondale, which was a really cracking match on Friday, the match of the round. But unfortunately, result didn't go the way that you were looking for.
No, look, definitely not. I think your furniture's safe. There was promises made last week that will now not be delivered on. But look, Modric did put in probably one of the performances of the Euro so far, so there'll be a quick punch for that. Seriously, Josh, how good was he? He's at what is he, 35? Still the best midfielder in the world. I don't hear arguments against it, but you're wrong.
Yeah, no, I think he's the most complete midfielder of the 21st century.
I can't argue with that.
It's him or Iniesta for me, and I think he edges it now with his longevity.
Yeah, well, look, at 34, Iniesta had retired to
Japan,
to China, raking in good bits of money. Modric is putting in performances man of the match performances in the Euros, dragging his team again by the scruff of a neck through to the round of 16.
It was exhilarating watching
Mate, it was-
watching that
oh, it was
that
so good.
masterclass. I
And
mean,
that goal, Felsch with the outside of the boot, shades of that Asanovic pass from 98 that so many people remember. What a hit.
this is the guy that was told by Rafa Benitez to never use the outside of his foot because it wasn't as precise as using the instep. I think that's what got Rafa Benitez laughed out of Real Madrid. I think that cost him his job.
might have.
That completely damaged his credibility. They went this overweight Spanish waiter has never played football before, and he's trying to tell Luka Modric not to use his most eye-catching attribute. He was spraying passes around the field with the outside of his boot all night. That goal was coming. There was no fluke involved in that.
None at all. And even if you look at the pass out to Guardiola before the cross came in that eventually led to that goal, it was another Felsch with the outside of his boot. He's so good.
He's amazing. He's just so elegant to watch. It's so satisfying.
Oh.
I think there's a reason we've amped up the Croatia content on tonight's show.
Well, look, there is, and that is because Melbourne-Croatia will be showing the game tonight. Obviously, a massive game, Croatia v Spain. The club will be open from 1 a.m. onwards for anyone interested in coming down. Should be an absolute belter of a game. I think it's going to be a tough one. The COVID curse strikes again for all things Croatia, with arguably our most informed forwards, Ivan Perisic, going down with COVID in suspicious circumstances, if I might say so.
With Scotland?
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I mean, 2 English players were prevented as much by their own FA as by UEFA from taking part.
Yeah.
After talking to Gilmore in the tunnel, but apparently Gilmore's teammates are all fine.
Yeah, they're fine, but because he spoke, them two spoke to him for 20 minutes. Apparently Perisic walked past him and he sneezed through a closed door. So I don't know if that's how he got it, but it is what it is.
Perisic didn't have any post-match chats with any of the Scottish players. No nattering in the tunnel.
I think he listened to Roy Keane. He sort of battered the English blokes for talking to him for 20 minutes. He claimed he hasn't had a conversation with his wife that's lasted longer than 5. Maybe he's just backing Roy Keane in, mate. But yeah, no, look, it's going to be an interesting game, that's for sure. Look, we're a chance.
Was it 2016 that Croatia and Spain played in that last group game?
Yeah, hammered them 2-1. Perisic scored.
That's it. I was so dazzled by, I think it was Marco Piazza in that game.
Yeah, look, he
hasn't really panned out as we hoped. But
nah, look, a couple of knee injuries will do that to you. But
he was amazing, and that was like that game was incredible. The performance by Croatia in that game, I don't think the scoreline really did it justice. No,
definitely not.
There was a penalty save though that where the goalkeeper was about 17 metres off his line, but we're going to talk about that.
Nah, his foot was back there. Nah, look, it's going to be an interesting fixture, that's for sure. Look, I was sceptical going into the Scotland game. 2018 didn't do it exactly enough to wash away all my bad memories of the national team, disappointing my hopes and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
But they put in an absolute shift against Scotland, broke them down fairly well. And look, if Modric is going to play like that, there's not too many games that we're not going to have control of the middle of the park. And I think that's where games like that are sort of going to be dictated. So we're a chance.
Vlasic has to start again.
Oh, he must.
It's not even a question. I think unchanged lineup as much as he can with obviously Perisic out.
Yeah, well, look,
bring somebody else in on the left.
Rebic is probably going to have to go out there on the left.
Yeah, look, he's good in transition.
In transition, he's good. To me, he's just he's a wish version of Ivica Olic. He just runs.
Could Orsic maybe be given an opportunity?
For me, look what he done against Tottenham.
That's true.
A little bit of that from outside the box, a little bit of that magic.
Battered Melbourne victory as well back in the day.
Yeah. And look, Knights fans, I'm sure, would love to see some of that action going on again. But look, Orsic would be a shout. Rebic probably is going to end up getting the start, but Orsic is someone who I think should see maybe a bit of time off the bench. But it's going to be one belter of a fixture. Spain are coming in, they're in a decent bit of form. We hit a bit of form against Scotland. Perisic out's obviously going to hurt, but I'm backing him in. I reckon we can maybe qualify, maybe through to the next round. That might be our ceiling facing France.
You know what the secret weapon is for Croatia? Alvaro Morata.
Oh look, let's hope
Agent Morata.
Yeah, look, let's hope he turns back into Chelsea Morata just for 90 minutes.
He's been Chelsea Morata for this tournament. Certainly, it was. I mean, the fact that they scored an easy tap in just after he got substituted. Like as soon as he was out of view, Spain suddenly turned it on. Like he's just the bad luck Brian of international football.
He's the black cat of the Spanish national team. There is no doubt. But look, I think the boys can do well. Comments are firing up. No, only 1,000 crowd limit. Is there a crowd limit at Knights Stadium? Look, with the league, there are some restrictions going on, but hopefully in the next week or two that'll be opened up completely and we can get our full sets of crowds back. Johnny Cash, penalty shootout tonight. Oh, look, let's hope it goes to penalties. Our record on those hasn't been too bad as a nation.
And De Gea hasn't saved a penalty in about decades, so, you know.
Let's hope for penalties. I need more grey hair.
I wonder if I wonder if they do the Van Gaal goalkeeper sub that Solskjaer didn't do in the Europa League final. Yeah. If it goes that far.
Or he just goes full...
Who's Spain's backup goalkeeper? Is it the guy from Bilbao?
I think it might be. Let's just hope he goes. What's the Chelsea keeper who just refused to go off for the penalties?
Oh, Kepa.
Be an absolute bit of drama.
I'd love that. Unai Simon is a backup, so
he's a decent keeper.
See who starts this game. He started the last group game against Slovakia, Simon. So
yeah, I think they're just maybe giving him a bit of game time. But look, if it does go to penalties, let's hope they've used all their subs and De Gea has to stay on because he hasn't saved one since about 2016 now.
Oh yeah, around that.
Yeah, something conceded like 41 or 42 consecutive penalties. Like,
I honestly think De Gea missed his calling as the greatest futsal goalkeeper of all time.
Yeah.
He's so good with his feet, anything on the line.
Phenomenal.
But the modern sweeper keeper role.
Yeah, that's...
And also have penalties for some reason. It's just no good.
Not him. I mean, you've got a better chance of hitting consecutive feature on more chilies than him saving a penalty these days. But anyway, to get on with the actual programming of the show, look, keep sending in your predictions for the game tonight. But if anyone is interested in coming down, Melbourne, Croatia will be open from 1 o'clock. But now just a quick shout out to all of our sponsors, I&D Group, Living Gems Lifestyle Resorts, Melbourne Croatia Soccer Club, the Australian Croatian Clubs of Melbourne and Geelong, Adcon Group, Evolve Reinforcement, Empire Global, and the show's sponsor, once again, St Andrews Hotel. Now, just to give our juniors and women's a quick wrap-up, due to the weather and a few other things, there was a few games potentially that got cancelled over the weekend. So our Mini Roos had an 8-1 win over Caroline Springs George Cross. Under 10s Ivan lost 3-2 to Tullamarine. Under 10s Jack drew 5-all with Broadmeadows. Absolute goal fest there. The under 11s drew with Green Gully 1-all. With our women's juniors, the under 9 girls with a 4-all draw with Satellite City. The under 12 girls with the 4-0 win over Doreen. So 8 goals between those two teams. Well done to our girls. And the senior reserves with a 3-0 loss to South Yarra, and the senior women with a 2-1 win over South Yarra. I believe that's the girls' first win of the year, so congratulations to them. But it must be brought up, unfortunately, our women's team captain, Michaela Jurcic, suffered a horrendous broken leg over the weekend. So everyone involved in the club would like to wish her the speediest of recoveries, and we ask everyone to keep her in our thoughts and prayers. Apparently leg broken in both places, Josh.
That's shocking.
Shocking.
I mean, they're pretty good at fixing that these days.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the mental side of things that's harder for me, the leg break, than the physical side. You know, like it's arguably preferable than a ACL or an Achilles.
Yeah, just in terms of the heel time.
In terms of the actual heel time, it's just about getting your mindset right. It's just more traumatic, I suppose, for everybody, but especially for the player.
100%.
And just for Michaela, we just wish her the speediest of recoveries and strength is come back from something like that happening to you on the football field isn't easy. So I'm sure everybody at Knights will be supporting her every step of the way.
Definitely, and we hope to see her back in a Knights jersey, captaining the girls out to many more wins down the line. We're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll have the Around the Grounds, and we'll be discussing Friday night's result.
We are more than engineers. We are more than project managers. We are more than surveyors. We are more than infrastructure specialists. We are more than planners. So, who are we? We are problem solvers, providing the highest quality service and results. We are a team of skilled professionals focused on customer needs and outcomes. We are 23 years of industry experience, adhering to the highest safety standards. We are Melbourne, and we are right across Victoria. We are the Lanco Group, your business partner for engineering solutions. Lanco Group. We are more than you realise, and we are ready to partner with you.
Are you looking to raise money for your community club or charitable organisation? Club Fundraising is an Australian family-run business, and we pride ourselves in creating partnerships with clubs, helping build stronger communities. Our free online platform provides everything you need for a successful campaign. With a step-by-step interface and best-in-class payment options, Club Fundraising makes it easy for clubs and contributors alike. Revolutionise the way you fundraise. Start your free campaign today. Head to clubfundraising.com.au. That's clubfundraising.com.au.
Buying your electricity from the big energy companies is now the most expensive way to power your home. In fact, the average electricity bill in Australia has more than doubled in the last 15 years. But not for the ones who went solar. Unlike your electricity bill, the power of solar has actually come down, and there's also government rebates available. So what are you waiting for? Join the 2 million households already saving hundreds of dollars every year. See how much your roof could be making you at solarpowerco.com.au. Go solar and get $500 cash back with the Solar Power Co., Australia's most trusted solar brand. solarpowerco.com.au.
The Night Train is brought to you by St Andrews Hotel, 128 Nicholson Street, Fitzroy. Beautifully crafted, cosy and intimate spaces for your drinking and dining experiences.
And welcome back, Knights fans. Now, the comments have been absolutely going nuts about the game tonight. Johnny Cash saying he predicted a 3-1 win against Scotland, and he's now predicting a penalty shootout and a goalkeeper to score the winner. Oh, mate, I'm really hoping we don't have that many penalties.
Well, I mean, it would be a replay of the Europa League final, wouldn't it? Maybe I put it in his head when I was talking about De Gea.
Maybe. Joe Sladik, 2-1, Croatia, Vlasic and Modric to score. Let's hope.
Vlasic, man. He's a baller.
He looks all right, the kid, mate.
I love his movement. He doesn't even need to play as a 10 or in midfield to influence the game. He was nominally a right winger against Scotland.
Yeah.
And you look at his heat map and he's like central and beyond the striker. Like he loves making these little runs in between the lines. What it does is it gives Modric an actual target to pass to rather than say England and Rebic, where he was totally like ghosting and not presenting for the ball.
Yeah, well,
and once Vlasic gets the ball behind the midfield line, all of the midfielders of the opposition sort of converge on him, and then it gives the other midfielders extra space.
Gives you time and space.
It's the classic risk and reward. When a midfielder's positioning is so aggressive, it actually
it opens up space,
and it means that it's better defensively as well, because the other team's so much deeper once they win the ball. So, I mean, I just can't believe he hasn't started until now. I think it's an indictment on Dalic, if anything, that he hasn't started him until the third game.
Yeah, well, look, mate, I suppose, Vlasic's form, I think coming in through the qualifiers wasn't exactly the greatest. You know, you look at the season that Rebic had at AC Milan this year, and you've got to back him in for the England game at least. You know, he probably played the toughest game you're going to play in the group first up as well. Doesn't help. But based on the performance from the first game, Vlasic should have been straight in after. But
made it hard for themselves, and that's isn't that the Croatian national team way, doing things the hard way when you shouldn't have to?
Just the national team?
Yeah.
I think that's Croatians worldwide, mate.
I have no comment on
that. Look, keep your comments coming in.
Yep,
as you can see, it's sparking a good bit of happy conversation. And just failing to mention before the 19s and 20s results that has been brought to my attention, the under-19s lost 4-1 and the under-21s with a 2-1 loss. So better luck next weekend to both of those teams. Now to go around the grounds, absolute belter of a game on Friday night. Port Melbourne, Dandenong Thunder, wrapping up 2-2, Josh. Bit of late drama, a couple of massive goals.
It was great stuff, wasn't it?
Mate, gripping.
My favourite bit was the melee between the two teams, and then the referee.
The two teams and the referee.
Yeah, the three-way melee. The referee runs charging in there like he was a boxing official.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was great.
I thought he was going to start throwing hands, mate. It was nuts.
There was one bit where he was trying to just push them away,
Yeah.
and then someone obviously pushed him a little bit, and he looked at them like he was about to have a swing. Imagine.
Oh, imagine the scenes. Referees fight back.
Honestly.
It'd be chaos. It'd be absolute chaos.
Yeah, look, all hell would have broken loose. But I just loved it because the Danny Thunder fans, they come out in force. They've got great away following, which always makes it a little bit spicier at those games. And Port Melbourne were really good value going forward. I think they deserved to get the point. But ex-Knight striker banging one in. Nice.
Watson popping up again.
Left-footed volley. And
he's very quietly having a pretty decent season.
Yeah, look, I think he's given Dandy Thunder something they needed, which is
definitely
a focal point for Bernardo to play off, rather than Bernardo being relied upon to
do everything,
to be up top and hold the ball up. He's much better when he's facing goal.
Yeah, definitely.
Dandy Thunder are a sneaky outfit that will surprise you at times. They're very porous at the back, though.
Yeah, look, but again, they're one of those teams that are dangerous enough up front to, all right, they might concede 2, but they're a chance at scoring 3. So.
Big loss to get Duggan sent off. He's probably going to get a suspension for a few games, and he's been the main man for Port Melbourne this season after that overhead kick the other week,
Mate,
which I think blew your mind as I showed you before the show.
Mate, I couldn't believe it. Like you see some absolute ripper goals in NPL, but that's got to be up there with the best ones I've ever seen in the NPL.
Just the thought experiment, though, is what if instead of Hamish Watson, Danny Thunder still had Brandon Barnes? Barnes and Banana would have been a handful for any defence.
Oh, definitely. Look, Barnes and Watson, similar but different sort of players. But look, Danny's just
similar diets, different styles.
Yeah. One's got a little bit less hair.
Yeah, look, they're both prolific goal scorers, and both I bet we could annihilate me in a beep test. So that's a joke. But Barnesy, I think, is a big miss to NPL. Just his banter as much as his spectacular goals.
Got a bit sick of him scoring and rubbing his gut.
That's true. You probably use the season off, to be honest.
No, but look, to be fair, when you hammer him for 90 minutes about being fat, then he scores and he rubs his gut, good bench.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good bench.
Fair play.
Take it on the chin. It's just terrible when it's up on the highlights for the next 3 weeks. It's bad. But moving on, Oakley with a 3-1 win over Gully. Big win for Oakley. Gully, again, flattering to disappoint.
2 red cards. 2. I mean, the Kyo Degoto one, it's one of those situations where why do you foul him? Just cop the goal. I mean, you're always going to get sent off.
Correct.
It wasn't a penalty or anything. They did prevent the goal in terms of the red card. And then the other one, I mean, it's just sort of instinctual handball on the line situation, so you can forgive that.
Those happens, that happens to everyone. It's not exactly like he's stuck his hand out.
It wasn't Luis Suarez or anything.
No, exactly.
He was just sort of trying to block it and his hand.
Yeah, it is what it is. You move on, but
Oakley getting a penalty conceded against them when they're playing against 9 players is not ideal, even if it was a bit of a soft call.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think maybe the referee's probably just thrown him a bit of a bone there with the penalty call. But, again, Gully down to 9 men. Oakley, again, look, they've done enough. You score 3, comfortable win for them in the end. But they're just, again, one of those teams I think that are rolling on towards the end of the season. They just seem to be going from strength to strength.
Joe Knowles is the inspiration, as he usually is, that ball for to actually win the free kick that was a red card for De Godoy, kind of swung the match. And he won the ball back in his defensive third, sprayed a long diagonal pass to pick out Chris Lucas. He scored as well. Like he's doing everything for Oakley, even though he missed a penalty in this game.
Yeah, no, look, he's absolutely phenomenal. But moving on, Hume City with a probably shock result of the round for me, 3-0 win over Bentley.
they seem to have Bentley's number. I mean, the FFA Cup tie, Bentley went down quite limply against Hume, and this time again. I mean, it's weird. You can't really pin down the hierarchy of teams at all. It's sort of like Knights beat Hume, but Hume beat Bentley, but Bentley beat Knights.
Avondale, and then we lose to Avondale, and then Avondale lose to Eastern Lions. This league is, you can't pick form. You can't pick form. I think that's why so many of these African punters in the comment section for the live streams are just so angry. Like, we can't pick it. We're watching the league every week. What chance have they got?
Yeah, if you're following the league from Indonesia, it's a bit of a tough tough one to predict. We can't tip it. No. Why are you even trying?
No, look, mate, I've been struggling to tip Knights results for the last 20 years of my life. Why should you be doing any better in Jakarta than I am in Melbourne?
But Hume playing well.
Hume, look, they showed bits and pieces of it last week in the fixture against us. I thought we were probably just the better team, especially in that first half. But to put Bentley to the sword, 3-0 away from home, that's a solid result.
It's a huge win. This was probably the game that delivered the least out of it was a shock result, but in terms of, it looked like the marquee fixture of the Friday night, and the 5 games head-to-head.
Yeah, and it just petered out, really.
Yeah, it was a limp display from Bentley. I was stunned, really. I mean, they weren't amazing against St Albans the week before when I called the game. I thought they lacked a bit of killer instinct, but they were still by far the better side, and they should have won more comfortably. Maybe it's another case of Bentley, and honestly, they have a little bit of a soft underbelly. If you can stop them from scoring 4 or 5 against you, which isn't the easiest, if you can stop them from dominating the game, you can get at them, you can score goals against them.
Definitely. Dandenong City with a 4-3 win over Heidelberg. Another game with a little bit of late drama.
Yeah. The other thing that occurred to me about the Bentley game is that Jack Webster was suspended. So that's a big loss
out for them.
But sorry, the Dandy City
massive win
game.
for Dandy. Look, Dandy again conceding 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. I think they just figured out they need to score a couple before they start conceding.
Yeah, I don't think the defence first Sasha Ognanovsky approach did them any favours. Maybe it's the Mickey effect. Taking the shackles off.
Oh, well, look, massive result for him. Like Heidelberg, I was pumping them up last week. They'd be probably one of my contenders to really hammer down that one of those top 4 spots. Seems like every team I talk up gets slapped a week after, Josh.
Maybe you should be really negative about the Knights this week. Just so they can prove you wrong.
Yeah.
We'll see to that later.
We'll come to that later in the show. Let me have a think about that, Josh.
Well done, Dandy City. Another result that nobody would have predicted.
Nah. Again, the round that keeps on giving. Eastern Lions with a 2-1 win over St Albans.
Well, my favourite thing about this game was Blakey being late, so 2 Eastern Lions players calling the opening 5 minutes. That was great. Great fun.
Phenomenal.
I do sympathise with him. It's a difficult scaffold to to scale. For me, a man of 26 years, for Blakey even harder. But it was a bit of a relegation dogfight, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It wasn't a quality game by any stretch.
And look, the weather over the weekend definitely didn't help. Most pitches across Melbourne were definitely feeling the amount of rain we had last week. You can just look through the State League games, how many games got cancelled or postponed due to, pitches basically being underwater.
Did they have the brooms out at Knight Stadium? They certainly did at BT Connor. Pre-kick-off, trying to sweep all the water off.
Well, it wasn't far off, mate. We're probably a bit lucky there. Our drainage isn't overly bad, but
yeah. It's a big leveler, though. Once the pitch is a little bit difficult to spray passes around on, the technical quality of both teams sort of shrinks to the same level, and you get a little bit of chaos, and it really throws a spanner in the works in terms of
chaos. And that's the thing. Chaos can potentially be a friend sometimes.
Yeah, well, it can be kind to the underdog a lot of the time.
And Altona Magic with another surprising result with a 2-1 win over South Melbourne. Hate to see it.
That was great.
Hate to see it. No, really, you do hate to see it. Like when I see South Melbourne have lost, like it really just puts a dampener on my whole week.
Yeah, no, it's tough.
No, look, you love to see it. Love to see him dropping points.
Really funny. I don't really have anything else to add about this game other than that it was hilarious. The time-wasting tactics of Altona were epic.
Yeah,
I have to say. But did you see the red card?
No, I didn't see.
I think it was Ristic, who's a very good player. taking a shot after the referee had blown his whistle, like way after.
Oh, yeah.
He'd run clean through on goal. He was ages offside, miles offside. He took the shot anyway. He was already on a yellow card and he got sent off. It was the Robin van Persie against Barcelona all those years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if he didn't hear the whistle. That was certainly Van Persie's excuse. But
look, there was a few people in the stadium when Van Persie done it. There was about 4 players' mothers in the stadium by the looks of things.
3 men and a dog, yeah.
I don't think you're not hearing a whistle there. There's not exactly much going on.
No, but a very strange way to get sent off. But it did eat up an extra few seconds for
Round them out the win in the end.
Slightly questionable penalty decision against McShane. It looked kind of like incidental contact rather than wasn't a dive or anything, but I don't think you're going to catch McShane diving.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Sooner headbutt you than dive in the box. But good win for Altona for the first time all season. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. James Bechter asking, have they sacked their coach again yet? Not quite. This one seems...
He survives.
This one survives. And look, a win, who knows? That could buy you 6 months. It could buy you 6 minutes. The coaching merry-go-round at Altona continues.
I think we need to bring in one of the NPL Victoria commentary team to be the new reality TV star over there. I think Bryce Ruthven needs to create Altona Magic, Big Brother... Because there's just drama every week.
Oh, you could
and his brother's in the first team as well.
You could just do it at the end of the season with all their ex-coaches. Just chuck them in a house, lock the door, and see who comes out in a week.
all the coaches and Igor.
Just to wrap up the table after this round's results, Avondale moving comfortably clear top, 5 points clear on 32 points. Oakley moving up to second on 27 points. Bentley dropping to third on 27 points. Heidelberg rounding out the top 4 on 26. Hume City in fifth on 24 points. Knights sixth, rounding out the final spots on 24 points. Port Melbourne on seventh on 23 points. South Melbourne eighth on 23 points. Dandenong Thunder ninth on 19 points. Green Gully 10th on 16 points. Eastern Lions 11th on 15 points. And then rounding out your bottom 3, Altona Magic moving up to 12th on 10 points. Dandenong City in 13th on 10 points. And St Albans 14th also on 10 points, but 10 goals in the goal difference behind, which could prove to be vital towards the end of the year if they are going to try and make a push to get out of that relegation spot.
I think Port Melbourne will have a lot to answer for if St Albans go down. But Altona, I mean, imagine winning one game all season and then no longer being in the relegation zone. It's amazing.
That's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
I think Eastern Lions have pretty much elevated themselves out of the picture.
Nearly.
I mean, it's not quite, but...
It's not quite, but, that win against St Albans is going to prove massive in terms of that bottom sort of 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah, it was the cliched 6-pointer.
Cliched 6-pointer, exactly. But again, looking at the table, between Oakley in second and South Melbourne in 8th, 4 points. The league, through that sandwichy section of the middle of the table, Dandy Thunder even moving up to 9th, they're only 4 points behind Hellas. They're still in striking distance to maybe make a late season push if results do go their way for a potential finals berth.
South lose a game and they're out of the top 6 entirely.
It's going to be so tight.
Of that top 8 that are all in really close contention, everyone, bar Thunder in 9th is 4-point drop, so they could still make it conceivably. Yeah. I mean, but of those teams, 4 out of 8 lost this week.
Yeah,
so
the top half is going to... That top 6 could be potentially decided by a late goal, late equaliser, late winner somewhere.
I'm hoping we get some last day drama.
Oh, could you imagine?
That would be great.
I hope, as long as we're safe, then I hope for drama. Otherwise, I can't take much more of this, Josh.
Well, we've already had predictions of goalkeepers taking penalties tonight, so I think someone needs to do a little cardio checkup on our friend here.
Please. But now, obviously, talking about our fixture from Friday night, unfortunately, the Knights going down 2-0 to Avondale at home. Interesting game. I thought there was probably going to be a little bit more open than it was in the end. The weather probably had a bit more to say about that than either of the coaches. But, Avondale really, really came out and showed why they're the top team in the league, top of the table team.
It was a good performance. You got to give it to them.
No, look, shake their hand and walk away. They were the better team on the night, and that was evident. I think they, especially through the middle of the park, they were just quality. You know, Valentini was on absolute fire, and you know, in the end, a bit harsh when the 2 goals you do concede are basically from defensive mistakes. But I think that's been a bit of a theme across the year, where too often we fought to get ourselves into a good position and we give teams a goal a little bit too often. But overall, plenty of positives to take out of the performance. I think especially in the first half, Avondale had a couple of chances, but I think that looked like a sort of 5 at the back that Bebic was trying to play with, like sort of a 3 centre-backs, dropping Albano in at wing-back. It was just something different to see if we could maybe use that, maybe use Albano up and down the sides to expose them a little bit there. In the end, you know, 1 or 2 different passes through the middle of the park, especially on the counter, go your way. We might be talking a bit differently about the game from Friday, but
it was essentially a 1-0 game, and then you get punished for
a bit of just terrible defending and ball watching, basically, in the 93rd, 94th minute. Just goes to show you.
But it's also a function of, you know, trying to risk everything to get an equaliser. So that goal doesn't happen in normal circumstances.
No.
So it was a really tight game.
Look, no doubt, but that's again, that just goes to show you why you've got to be absolutely switched on until the last kick of a game, because especially with how tight the top half of the table is points-wise, goal difference could end up being the difference between making finals and not. So you can see the crappy 94th minute goal like that. If that's the difference between you, that's how you got to be looking at it at this point of the season.
That's true.
Any goal conceded potentially keeps you out of finals.
I mean, you're right. I mean, I still think it's absolutely worth taking the risk for the point.
No doubt. But you know, make him score one from 35 yards out. Foul him.
Yeah.
You know, nothing stupid. Just give his jersey a bit of a tug. Ref's going to blow the whistle. Take your yellow and walk away.
Yeah. Well. Once he's in behind, unfortunately, like it's tough to know whether you're going to get a straight red and then you're suspended, and then you think, is it worth it from the 94th minute, whatever. Look. So, but behind for me, I think was the one bit of last-ditch defending that I think didn't get enough airtime this weekend.
No, definitely not. I'm pretty sure that was Brycey who cleared it off the line. Captain Courageous once again, just right place at the right time. But
amazing.
He's so good. He's so good.
And he just never gives up on anything.
No, never gives up on anything. And you got to love that. And I think that's one of the big reasons he became such a fan favourite so quickly, is because he's just got that fight you want to see from every single player playing in your jersey.
It's amazing. And also, I mean, that's a really technically difficult task, not just to make up the ground and get to the goal line in that situation, but also not to put it in the net yourself. I mean, how many times do you see the ball just going off a defender and it goes, oh, well, it's still a goal for the striker. They tried everything they could, but somehow he's adjusted his body to project the ball the other way, and not hit it off the post and in.
Absolutely phenomenal.
What a clearance. It was just amazing. And look, I think there was a lot of difficulty defending Avondale's wingers in this game. I wonder whether Bebic will look back and think maybe the wing backs were the wrong choice, but it's easy to say in hindsight.
Easy to say in hindsight. If that system works, 1 or 2 of those breaks early go your way. You get 1 or 2 up and then hold out a 2-1 win at home. We're having a different conversation, but could have, would have, should have, didn't. Unfortunately, the story from the night will be that, especially through the midfield, I feel like Avondale were probably the stronger team. They had the better sections of the play through the middle. Young Chona coming on, I thought, he definitely added a bit of a spark there. But, overall, you play the top team in the league with the conditions and everything else, walk away with 2-0. You take it on the chin and you move on to next week.
Well, what did you think of the Avondale's first goal, which really, ended up deciding it? It was, it was a quality finish.
Quality finish, no doubt. But again,
the defending,
bad defending, man. Bad defending. Avondale are a team that you don't really need to give too many chances, and I thought up till that point in the game we'd done well to keep them out. But then you gift them a goal like that. And with the conditions, what they were like on Friday, and once they went up a goal, that was really going to be it. They were going to just play sensibly enough, park a few men behind the ball, and really once they scored, we didn't really have too many clear-cut chances. So,
I think there is a mitigating factor with how with the final pass there and the shot, how Ute Towns was closed down on the edge of the area is because you're used to Towns always taking that dribble. Always, he barely ever hits anything first time because he's so good at dribbling. So there's every chance that instead of taking the shot, he's going to fake the shot and cut past you and get an easier chance. So I think that's why the two Knights defenders were
sort of
hesitant, a little bit sluggish to arrive at the edge of the box. Because if you overcommit with your momentum going one way and Towns goes the other, then that's what you're expecting him to do. That's what he's done in midfield all game. And instead he took it first time, beautiful side foot into the corner, and you look stupid. So
quality finish, no doubt. And look, that's probably something the boys will look back on in the film session, all the rest of it this week. But
I think it's the starting position of the defenders, and also maybe not having enough cover in that area from other players.
Yeah.
You know, that's it's difficult to close down that space sensibly without overcommitting.
Look, I'm not really going to jump on anyone for not overcommitting to that because, like you said, you overcommit to it and he does what he's been doing all season, which is taking that extra touch there, dances past you. I'm going to be hammering him for lunging in.
Exactly.
Like so
it's damned if you do, damned if you don't with Ute Towns. So.
Look, when they score, you're going to get blamed. But
James, with a good point, it was the cheap turnover that led to the goal. It was more of a problem than the defending on the shot itself.
You know, and a couple of cheap turnovers are going to cost you, especially in games against teams like this. But we did have a chat to Coach Steve Bebic post the game on Friday night.
Yeah, you had the mic. You had the microphone out, chatting to the head coach.
Look, and I'm sure he didn't really want to talk to me. I didn't really want to be talking to him either. But you got to do what you got to do for the punters want to be hearing what the coach has got to say. So here's Steve Bebic post our game on Friday night. Good evening, Knights fans, and we're joined by Coach Steve Bebic post our 2-0 loss to Avondale. Steve, what are your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, look, I think it was.
What are your thoughts on the game, mate?
Yeah, I can't really fault the boys' performance overall. We mixed things up a bit tonight in terms of tactically. We played Avondale up there with one of the best teams going around in the competition, so full respect to them. But I thought overall they struggled to break us down for a large portion of that game. So I thought the plan was working. We had a number of little chances on the break where that last little pass sort of was lacking, and then copped a real soft goal. So it doesn't help.
Definitely not. Big game coming up this week. How's the squad sort of feeling and looking post our little circuit breaker lockdown?
Yeah, sort of getting everyone sort of back to full fitness slowly. Copped a couple of little niggles last week's game, so Webby's slowly making his way back in, and hopefully Trevor Zed should be right for next week as well. But yeah, we started well, obviously against Hume, and a lot of positives to take out of tonight. So we'll go into Heidelberg full of confidence.
Definitely, mate. Looking to right the wrongs of last time's result against Heidelberg. How are you feeling coming into the game itself?
Yeah, look, that was a long time ago now, but if I recall it correctly, I think we were a bit unlucky in that game as well. But yeah, they're a team I think are in form as well, especially pre the break. So it's not going to be an easy battle, but no game in this league is. So we'll take it head on and we'll see what happens.
Thanks for your time, Steve.
Steve Bebic.
Echoing some of the sentiments we had on the show, quite often this seems to be the case, and not just because I interview him. We agree on many footballing sort of things, but yeah, look, costly turnovers, especially against teams like Avondale, you're going to get punished, and they punished.
Yeah, they did. You're going to make the most of your mistakes, and that's what happens when good teams play each other. Sometimes it's a bit of a stalemate, and it relies on one or two moments, and that's kind of what happened in the first game as well.
Yeah, it was.
It's either a moment of quality or it's an error or a combination of the two.
Yeah, look, I was really hoping for another crazy Mikulic head on the 94th minute. Unfortunately, not to happen this time, but fond memories of that goal away. Just a few things coming in through the comments. Tony Jurcic with a speedy cover, wishing Michaela a speedy recovery. Rob Dvorak, apparently I'm looking fantastic tonight. Thank you, Rob. I agree. And James Baxter, by the way, with Tommy Uskok supposedly on the verge of signing for MacArthur, I'll happily accept a recently released Ivan Franjic at Summer Street. So Ivan Franjic potentially coming back, according to James Baxter? Would you take him back, Josh?
Of course he would. Of course he would.
Yeah, he probably would, eh?
I heard stories about Fronish that he used to come back in the A-League off-season and play under a different name at a state league team in Victoria.
Not in Victoria. There have definitely been rumours about that happening at a Croatian soccer tournament or two.
Yeah.
Apparently, when he was at Brisbane,
Nice
this may or may not have happened at a Gold Coast tournament. And when Brisbane Roar found out, they were, let's just say, less than impressed.
But he didn't play right back, though. He would have played middle of midfield, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you'd assume so.
He was always...
Potentially up front. I don't know. I may or may not have watched the game.
Love it. He was always very silky for a right back. He may not be done at professional level, but, I mean, look, he's phenomenal.
He's
Always
such a
was.
good player. Such a good player. We also spoke to Vice-Captain Nikola Jurkovic after the game on Friday, and here's what our friend Nikola had to say.
Nikola
Good evening,
Jurkovic
Knights
talking
fans,
to
and we're
Zovac
joined by
post-match.
Nikola Jurkovic. Nikola, what are your thoughts on the game, mate? Good evening, Knights fans, and we're joined by Nikola Jurkovic. Nikola, what are your thoughts on the game, mate?
Most recent rivals, but what do you do? I thought we gave it our all. Unlucky in the first half, a couple of breakaways, but they showed a bit of quality in that second half. I think maybe we stayed a little bit too deep at some points, but we've got to learn from it. What do you do? It's still in that, obviously going to be in that final top six. We move on. We had some good, a lot of positives in there, and just move on to next week against Heidelberg.
Yes, obviously coming in from the break, good win last week against Hume. Average result tonight, but how do you think the boys are feeling coming into the post sort of lockdown?
No, look, we felt, I think that break was good for us. I think we're going through a bit of a rough patch of results, and I've had a few injuries as well, so it's good to get that all topped up. And obviously it was a great result against Hume last week away. I don't think Hume's lost a game at home this season, so it was good. But look, we expect better tonight, but like I said, what do you do? It's not the end of the world. We move on. We're a better team than that. We know we are. And we'll move on to next week.
Yeah, so massive game next week against Heidelberg. How's everyone feeling coming into the fixture?
Look, we'll obviously review tonight, see where it all went wrong, where the positives were as well, obviously, but I still think, mate, our team, when we're playing well, we can beat anyone, and I still think we can go all the way in this league. So just take it week by week, but when we make that top six, we're going to surprise a lot of teams.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks, buddy. We're going to surprise a lot of teams.
Thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Nikola Jurkovic, strong words there, and look, I'm backing him up there. I think we've shown through patches of the season when we're playing at our best, we can beat anyone in this league.
Yeah, mix it with the best teams. It's just a matter of consistency, I think, and that's what's been slightly lacking this season.
Look, few injuries at inopportune moments.
Absolutely,
that's always going to hurt, but that's the nature of football. That happens with everyone. So, put it together a little bit better, and I think we're going to make a strong push for the top six this year, mate.
I think it's time to do something we haven't had in a while.
I agree, Josh. I agree.
In tonight's special feature, we hear their thoughts on where the game has been and where it's heading.
You can't handle the truth.
You want really to say something?
Open up the doghouse. Open up the doghouse. Rover, rover, move it over. Two cats are coming in.
And opening up the doghouse, who have we got joining us tonight?
John, that was a very interesting introduction.
That's whenever someone gives us an unprompted talkback call, we roll out the doghouse music for you, John. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, unfortunately, I have to disagree with you at the moment. I mean, you look at our results against the top sides, we haven't beaten any of them. And Saturday's performance, we defend far too deep. And Nicola just said it in his interview there. To defend like that, and we've been doing that against the top sides. Against the lower sides, we get away with it. But unfortunately, if we continue to play that way, it's just we're not going to get any penetration. We had no shots on goal at all in that game on Saturday, and that's a real issue. Our transition from defence to forward is really slow, and that is because we hold the ball too much. And I think, Beva's got to change that before it's too late, but because the top sides are just wiping the floor with us at the moment.
I don't disagree with you, John. I think one inclusion from hopefully next week that will assist with both of those things you're talking about is Alan Webb. I think he's being sorely missed. Because on the one hand, he's a great transition player. We know he can get in behind. He's got great pace. He moves out wide. He makes all those runs that can be picked out really quickly with a quick sort of 20, 30-yard pass forwards and then it seems away. But the other thing is his off-the-ball movement's so good that it actually helps the team advance up the pitch because you've got him there as a target to actually get him the ball. He can hold it up a little bit, combine with the midfielders, and then the back line can actually get out. So I think not having Alan Webb as an option up front has not helped on either front, the way you're talking about the issues at the moment.
Yeah,
John, thoughts?
That's absolutely true. I mean, injuries are going to form a part of anyone's campaign. But I think injuries aside, you still should be able to, not as defenders. The defenders, they're very experienced. I mean, and at some stages, I mean, the back pass from McGarry was very casual as well. That led to that first goal. I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more quicker movement forward, and I think that will help our defenders not have to absorb as much pressure. And even if we do have injuries, we should be able to do that, and hopefully that can change. But that's the thing that stands out to me is our transition forward is really hurting us.
Yeah, look, I think especially in a few probably key games this year, it has been the build-up has had the potential to be a bit slow, but overall, you look at some of the teams. We haven't had the greatest in terms of, we took a point off Avondale. We've taken a point off Oakley. The Bentley game was pretty bad, but again, there was that many injuries out that night. They even copped one, I think, in the first 5 minutes of the game with Ollie Chuckett and then getting his debut off the bench. But I think the boys have shown enough fight, and look, I think we're definitely good enough to make a push into that top six. And I think once you get Webby back now, you get Trevor back fit and firing in that squad. I think the tempo that we can play with just goes up a couple of notches.
Well, I hope so too. That's all I want. I was hoping that we would, snag top spot and join some of our brothers or sisters in state like Canberra. Is it the Gold Coast Knights that are almost up the top of the ladder, or Glenorchy?
Yeah, they're Gold Coast is flying. Glenorchy's looking all right.
Yeah. So it's interesting that we've got a lot of clubs around. Sydney United, a little bit of a kick the other couple of weeks ago, but they're still firing. Be nice if we could occupy all the top spots, but I don't know if we can down here. But that's okay.
Look, maybe not this year, but again, I think when you're looking at what Bebic has managed to do in even just look really first 6 months since he's taken over, you can really see he's trying to push forward a certain plan, a certain way of playing, and that's going to take time to implement, and maybe 2 or 3 transfer periods before we can really get a strong foundation of what team he sort of wants to play with. So for me, it's just give him a bit of time. There's been a lot of positives to take out of this season in comparison to maybe the last couple. So onwards and upwards, I think, for the Knights.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the next year, if we can solidify the players that we've got and not have that turnover that we've had in the last 3 or 4 years, that consistency with players and the roster, then, I 100% agree. Next year, that springboard into maybe the top 4, top 3.
Oh, look.
And then, so, I agree.
Mate.
Thank you.
John, call in any time, mate. Really thoughtful, constructive stuff. I don't think the team would disagree with you either on the criticism you made. I mean, we heard it from Nicola there. So call in any time, mate. We love the feedback.
All right. Good luck. See you on the weekend.
See you on the weekend, mate. Hope to see you down at Heidelberg.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, mate.
That was John calling in on the talkback line, and our talkback lines are always open.
Always open, and John's taken the initiative and called up, and fantastic call.
Yeah, that's great. Added a lot to the show. 9944 9999 is the number, and we always love it when we get a bit of interaction, whether it's in the chat, on the talkback line. It's what makes the show good.
We love the comments. We love the messages. We love the calls in. Calls in, we love the most of all. But we're going to go, into, obviously, now the game against Heidelberg, Josh.
Yes. Oh, do we going to get your 3-2-1s now or later?
3-2, nah, we'll do them right towards the end of the show.
All right, we'll save them.
Save them for the end of the show. But obviously, game this weekend at Heidelberg, 3 o'clock on Sunday. Looking like it's going to be a very interesting fixture. For me, it'd be close to the game of the round.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, certainly. Heidelberg, I've struggled to get a handle on all season. Probably clearest in your mind is the away game at Knights Stadium, where they were so disciplined and so dogged defensively, but Knights should always have won that game.
They were average for 87 minutes, and then Brandon Ellis just turned into Ronaldinho for 30 seconds. Sean Ellis turned into Ronaldinho for 30 seconds, and you lose the game 1-0. But, you know, you're a little bit more clinical in that first half. We probably should have put 3, maybe 4 past them up to the point where they scored.
You know what I think has to be a priority with countering what Heidelberg has to offer is putting the right player on the left flank to counter the attacking runs of Josh Wilkins. He's their best player every week.
Oh, look, Zafaridis for me since he's come in has been...
I don't mean left back. I mean the left winger to actually track him from deep because he's a right back and he makes so many good runs forwards. He's their best attacking player is their right back.
Yeah.
It's like Danny Alves in the NPL. It's crazy. No way he should be still in the NPL.
No, look, it's definitely going to be a tough fixture, especially Heidelberg at home have always, traditionally for us since the NSL, they've been a tough team to beat at their ground. But look, I'm looking out for a big performance, especially after the tough pill to swallow that was Friday night. You know, unfortunately, I think Brycey may be missing this Sunday with a culmination of yellow cards. But look, with hopefully Trevor Zwetsloot back and ready, he maybe slots back into that centre back spot next to Nicola. He's been someone that for me has been sorely missed over the last 5-6 weeks. Even before the lockdown, such a silky player.
Yeah, it's quality. He's got that composure as well, which most players don't have. It's a very hustle, bustle, 100 miles an hour type league. And, Trevor has
someone who can make it look like he's got time on the ball in this league. Phenomenal. And look, I think with him especially, he gives you that option of playing him either at centre back or through the middle if need be.
I think he'll have to play centre-back this time.
Look, this time he probably will have to play centre-back, but a player like that does give you that option. You know, if Bryce and Nicola are holding things up well, playing well together at the back, you slot him into the middle potentially with a Jules Laura McGarry, and he just offers you something really different there. But
it's going to have to be a good performance this week. They are beatable, as we saw it at Dandy City, but, I just hope it won't only be the... I hope it will only be the dry souvlaki meat that's leaving us with a bad taste in our mouths.
Yeah, look, let's hope so.
I called a women's game there earlier this season. I couldn't speak for the first half because all the moisture had been drowned in. It was really bad. Oh, dear. So if they can up their game in the canteen this week for a hungry Knights away crowd, that would be nice, Heidelberg. Taking me, after the 1959 Byron girl at the moment.
Yeah, well, look, for me, the over-under on grandmothers in the kitchen has to be like 4.5.
Yeah.
It's got to be over. That's like the tip point for solid like kitchen food at NPL venues. Oakley, they've got the best, and I can't understand one word of what's going on in their kitchen because it's all just old ladies yelling at each other in Greek.
You don't want to understand anything.
No, if I understand, we've got problems. We've got problems. No, old women yelling at each other in Greek. That's give me 2. It's
the louder and seemingly more abusive, the better.
That's phenomenal, phenomenal, and all that sweat, extra salt, flavour, mate.
A bit of added zest.
A bit of added zest, mate, and maybe a bit of loathing for one of their grandchildren who didn't clean their plate or something on the week. It's all good, mate. It's all good. But look, I think we might be able to jag a result this weekend. It's just going to be key. I think if Heidelberg score first, they're going to be a tough team to break down, especially away. That first goal is going to be absolutely vital. And look, ideally, if you can get that in the first sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, and stamp your authority on that game early, potentially maybe even get a second one, you can put them away, and we're good enough to hold out that sort of a lead.
The thing that concerns me about Heidelberg is they tend to turn up against the big opponents and then kind of drop off a little bit against the lower teams on the table. They tend to reserve their best performances for when they're really locked in for the big games.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe comes from the coaching staff being able to get a little bit of an extra gear and extra motivation
Extra 5 to 10%.
against South, against Knights, against all the more fancy teams in the league. They go up another gear. So that's what Knights are going to face this week. I think it's going to be a different Heidelberg to the one that went down against Andy City so limply, really.
Oh, well, look, and it's going to be an interesting one, but I'm backing us in for the win. I'm going to tip us for a 2-1 win this weekend, bounce back from the result on Friday, and hopefully for John, Heidelberg's in the top 6. We get a win this weekend, and that's that.
Break the record.
Break the record as soon as it got mentioned on the show, which would be nice.
That would be nice.
It would be ideal.
I'm backing Knights in as well. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, unlike Heidelberg usually, because they've just, since the transfer window, seem to have tried to open up a little bit more, play a bit more attacking. They brought John Roberts in from interstate, and I think it's compromised them defensively slightly. We saw in that 4-3. The Knights obviously missing your best centre-back, your captain leader. That's going to be tough, but I also think the return of Alan Webb on the other end, if he's back fit,
might compensate for that. So let's hope Webby's back and fit.
If Webby plays, I think Knights will win 2-1 or 3-2. I think both teams are going to score in this game.
Look, I think the cloud on Trevor is massive as well. If we get Trevor and Webby back for this week, I think it's. I'm not going to say comfortable because it's never comfortable away at Heidelberg, but.
Be a lot more confident.
A lot more confident, yeah, definitely.
And if not, chance for a young kid like Felipe's done this season to come up and steal a show.
Yeah, look, and that's actually a really good segue into my 3-2-1s because I gave Challoner the one this week. I thought especially through the middle, Avondale had the better options in the middle of the park, that sort of first really 60, 65 minutes. He came on and there was a bit of a spark from him through the middle of the park. He made a couple of runs. Took a bit of a hit from 10 odd metres outside the box, sailed over, but shows a bit of confidence from the young bloke to come on when you're 1-0 down against Avondale and you're confident, you're backing yourself in from 10 metres outside the 18-yard box on the run. I'll rate that.
That's an area of the pitch where I think a bit of extra depth is needed in this squad now with Breezy's injury.
Yep.
So I would love to see a young player come up and stake a claim, put some selection pressure on in that area.
Oh, look, I think he definitely showed something on Friday night, so I'll put him down for the 1. I think Manos for the 2 because without him again, you're probably looking at a bit more of an inflated scoreline.
That's it, yeah. And it's always hard for goalkeepers in those conditions as well.
Oh, definitely. The ball's bouncing, it's sliding, it skids. One time it skids, one time it hops. But again, I think him coming off his line, he was quality. Made a few good saves, and even the commanding presence he does give you in between the sticks. I think something that's really shown for us this year. He's been one of our best players, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I have very few criticisms of Manos. Sometimes coming off his line, he can be a little bit unsure.
Yeah.
And that's something that Bebic has got to work on him with. But just his raw attributes as a keeper, he's amazing, and he's also a good communicator as well.
Definitely. And no surprises. Who's getting the 3 again? Bryce here, look, given we did concede 2, but his clearance off the line was just wow.
Yes.
I still don't understand how he twisted his body to get his foot back around that and send it out.
Defied physics.
Yeah, definitely. And look, I think it's looking like he's running away with the radio player of the year. But
it doesn't matter if this is a loss or a win. He still seems to come up in the votes. It shows how crucial he is. It's not just, we struggled, the centre-back will give him a couple of votes because he had a lot to do.
No.
A lot of the time when it's been a really confident performance, he's also been excellent.
He's been excellent. No, look, he's phenomenal. His leadership, I think that's been one of the sort of biggest improvements this year to last year, having him back in that back 4 and with a keeper like Manos behind him. You've got so much more communication between your defenders and your keeper now. Like, you got Manos is yelling back at them, Bryce is marshalling the blokes in front of him. He's just been so good.
It's a very easy choice for player of the season. You could probably, if the bookies were taking bets, they'd have already paid out.
Betting suspended. He probably would have been paying about 97 cents after round 5.
That's it.
But interesting week coming up.
Yes.
Hopefully Croatia jags a result tonight. Knights jag a result next week, and Joshy Furniture might be in trouble again.
Oh, dear. dear.
Look, I think we're a bit of a better chance than we were last week. I'm definitely more confident.
I tell you what,
about hitting both results this week than last.
I tell you what, if Luka Modric scores another goal like he did against Scotland, my furniture's in trouble at home.
Oh, look, let's hope Modric pops up tonight.
I was up off the couch before he hit it.
Oh, look, I knew.
I knew
it was coming back to him.
The body position, you went, oh.
I could just see that Felsh coming.
Just a long line of drool that started.
Oh, look, I reckon there's going to be, especially in the next probably month or two, there's going to be a lot of broken windows in Croatian parents' backyards. Kids trying to emulate that outside of the foot Felsh and maybe knocking a few plums out of a tree or potentially breaking a bathroom window.
I'm trying to learn the Trivela, Mum.
Definitely worth it. Guys, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thanks, John, for the call-in. That was absolutely fantastic. Everyone who's jumped in on the comments, Josh again for joining me, and hope to see you all down at Heidelberg on Sunday for what should be an absolutely fantastic fixture, and look forward to having you all join us again next week on the radio. Thanks for your night.
Come on.
Come on.
I think the Knights, their time has arrived. I think last week that 10-man performance in the preliminary final was absolutely exceptional. So I'm going for the Knights.
But when you talk of Knights, it's a real fighting team.
Buskak into the back of the net. Melbourne Knights take the lead 1-0. Melbourne Knights will win the Doherty Cup.
For a finals berth, that's it! The Croatia fans salute the goal that could be so vital.
With the right qualification, there's no